Mark Sargent, a conspiracy theorist with a little over 100,000 subscribers who I came across while trying to look for people to make a video on. Let me just tell you, this guy's the perfect candidate for a commentary video like this, because any popular conspiracy theory you could think about, he talks about on his channel. Before we get into looking at some of this guy's videos, let me just read you the first part of his channel's description. Are we inside of a Truman Show enclosed world thousands of miles wide? This is part of a series of videos that shows it's not only possible, but likely. Mark K. Sargent. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff this guy believes in. And don't get me wrong, people can believe in whatever they want, but if it's stupid, I'm gonna talk about it. Oh yeah, also, join the Discord, the link is in my channel's description. It's a good server, trust me. Or let's get started with the first video.
So my flat earth friends messaged me, say, Mark, you forgot the most interesting moon point. Oh man, you're right, let's break it down. Years ago, someone called me and said, did you know the moon is cold? And I said, what do you mean, it's colder at night? No, the moon is actually generating light that is cold.
Right off the bat, and we already got a few things wrong with this video. For one thing, as we all know, the moon doesn't generate any kind of light. It reflects the sun's light. That's like some kindergarten level stuff. Also, calling the moon cold is like calling the earth cold because Antarctica exists. It just doesn't make sense. There's too much variety. Like, during the day, on the moon, it's 250 degrees. But during the night, it's negative 250 degrees. So, it just varies too much to call it cold or hot. Even if the moon was generating light, it wouldn't make sense for it to make things colder, considering the side that would be allegedly generating the light is 250 degrees.
Is that a thing? Apparently it's a thing, but what does it mean? If the sun is out, then it's colder in the shade. Easy. What happens with the shade of the moonlight? It's exactly the opposite. It's warmer, and that's a problem if the moon is reflecting warm sunlight. We tested it, and you can too. Grab one of those cheap point-and-click thermometers, wait for a full moon high in the sky, and then look for the moon shade. Turns out it was up to 13 degrees warmer in the moon shade.
Okay, so that just doesn't make sense at all. According to this guy's logic, if it was 25 degrees in the moonlight, then in the moon shade, it would be 38 degrees. Why would that make sense? That means that everything that's not in the shade would be frozen, and everything in the shade wouldn't be frozen.
Sometimes more, sometimes less, but always colder. If you magnify sunlight, you can burn things, but if you magnify moonlight, it gets even colder?
No, that's just objectively wrong. If you concentrated the moonlight as something, it would make it slightly warmer, not colder. I mean, it wouldn't make it that much warmer, considering the moon is barely bright compared to the sun. But still, I don't know where this guy's getting colder from. I know what he's talking about, which is the Doppler effect, which uses lasers to decrease the energy of atoms. But if the moonlight was concentrated, it wouldn't decrease the energy. It would slightly increase the energy. So I don't know why he's saying that it's cold.
Hey science, if the moon is reflecting hot sunlight, then why is it acting like a self-contained cool laser? They sell those on Amazon, by the way. The sun is just a light bulb and the moon is a cold night light rotating over our head, part of a giant ornamental clock that predates language. Why? Because the earth is flat and we didn't build it.
This is kind of not that important of a detail, but he says, we didn't build it, referring to the earth. Like, yeah, no crap, I know we didn't build the earth.
Do your own research and feel the truth for yourself. Whatever, I'm done.
Saying I'm done at the end of his video is just a theme for this channel for some reason, even though he's not done and he's just gonna keep yapping. Also, I don't know where this guy's getting his information from. Maybe he just thought of it randomly, maybe he heard it from some other guy, maybe he got it from some troll website, but either way, it just isn't true.
So my flat earth friends message me and say, Mark, you should talk about radiation. So let's talk. I believe in it. The end. No, seriously, there are some issues with radiation and NASA. Mankind has made things that emit radiation since forever. Nature creates huge amounts of radiation all over the place, or so we're told.
I don't know why he said, or so we're told, about this whole radiation thing, because I know he believes in radiation. Because, spoiler alert, this video is trying to disprove the moon landing and, like, just going to space in general. Because he's saying the astronauts would have died from radiation. So clearly he believes in it. I just don't know why he said that.
Look into the Van Allen radiation belts. Hey, don't you work for NASA that surround the Earth and are super deadly? He discovered them in 1959 and said never go up there. Then the president says we should go up there. Probably should rethink that. We use 3 things to stop radiation. Lead, which is cheap, gold, which is twice as dense as lead, and lots of water. Anything that flies has to be as light as possible, so you can't use lead or gold or water. So what did they use to stop the massive radiation? Nothing. Well, it's aluminum and plastic, but that's useless.
Aluminum isn't useless. It's useful for protecting against low-energy radiation particles in space.
And yet no one died, no one got radiation poisoning, no one got cancer. 4 of them are still alive in 2024. So how did Apollo do it? Crickets, it's fine.
The astronauts received lower than the harmful dose of radiation. That's why they're still alive. That's why they didn't get any health effects. How hard is that for you to believe?
A big plot hole that science doesn't want to deal with. There was nothing to stop the radiation because they didn't go. Space programs are just fantasy for the masses. The world is flat. Do your own research and see the plot holes. Whatever. I'm done.
This guy really likes to say that he thinks the world is flat. We get it. You're a flat earther. Calm down now.
So my flat earth friends message me saying, Mark, what's the deal with spacesuits? Well, the deal is that suits in movies do things that are not possible in real life, but you accept it because it's been burned into your brain again and again.
Of course, spacesuits in movies and TV shows will be displayed as unrealistic. That's the whole point. It's a work of fiction, not a documentary. And also, nothing is burned into our minds. We don't look at TV shows and movies and think that's how the world actually works.
Let's face it, you've watched way more fake astronauts than real ones. Oh wait, they're all fake.
He really had to add that they're all fake. We get it. You don't believe in astronauts. Whatever, let's just hear his argument.
The main point here is pressure and what it does to things. Most people don't even know what they are breathing in, let alone the air pressure that surrounds them. If you believe in science and space has no pressure and the law says different pressures will equalize without a barrier, it's why all gases we use are kept in metal containers. But that's a problem. Any soft container will expand until it explodes. But this doesn't happen with a spacesuit. No one in science has ever emailed me about how that works.
I'm no scientist, but I can confidently tell this guy that the spacesuits can hold in the air pressure even while in space, because the materials they're made out of are just strong enough, and they're built to do that. It's the same reason a bridge doesn't just suddenly collapse under the weight of a car, because it's built out of materials that are meant to withstand the weight of a car. I don't know why this guy finds it so hard to believe that materials can be strong enough to withstand the vacuum of space.
I even offered a spacesuit challenge to drive the point home. Loan me a suit from any era, they all work just fine, not sure why you kept changing it. Then put me into a vacuum chamber and pull the lever. Tell me how I stay alive in there. No one would touch it.
Whoa. This guy is getting way ahead of himself. NASA isn't going to let some random goober go into a giant vacuum chamber just so he could see how a spacesuit works.
Because if it was a trick, I could solve it by using a glass of water, a balloon, and a bell. The water boils, the balloon explodes, and the bell is silent. You should know this, by the way.
So he's saying that the spacesuits are fake because he could prove if they turned on the vacuum chamber or not with a bell, a balloon, and a glass of water? But what if they just did turn on the vacuum chamber and it worked? Then what, huh? How are you going to prove it's fake then?
The spacesuit is a lie because space is a fairy tale told to you by people in lab coats. The world is flat. Do your own research and look past the tricks. Whatever, I'm done.
So the spacesuit is a lie because space is a fairy tale. Oh, I get it now. But see, the thing is, you're going against, a bunch of organizations, countries, entire governments who have footage of going to space, spacecrafts, satellites everywhere. I don't know why you think space is a fairy tale. I don't know what you're talking about.
So my flat earth friends messaging me, say, Mark, you still got beef with science? I say, oh, I've got serious beef. Scientism believes in things they can never prove, like the Big Bang, dark matter, and gravity.
Oh my god, 10 seconds into the video and he's already speaking nonsense. Okay, number one, we can prove the Big Bang because of the cosmic microwave background and how uniform it is, which is just evidence of the Big Bang. Also, how the galaxies which are farther away from us appear to have a more reddish hue due to redshift because of how fast they're moving away from us, which stretches out the wavelength of the light that's being emitted by the galaxy and makes it appear to be more red. And to top that all off, when we look at the galaxies that are farther away, they appear different than the galaxies that are closer because we're looking at them how they were billions of years ago, and they look different, which is just proof of the evolution of galaxies and how they appear different over time. Number two, he talks about how dark matter can't be proven, even though we can tell its gravitational force is affecting other objects in the universe. And for number three, he talks about how people believe in gravity. What do you think holds the solar system together? One last thing before we move on. Let me just point out, he believes the Earth is flat, even though it was proven to be round over 2,000 years ago.
But at the same time, they refuse to believe in the simple creations like rare animals unless they are sitting on their lab table. Look at the giant panda, giant anaconda, and giant squid. What, are you allergic to the word giant? Unicorn whales, check. Unicorn horses, no. You were dead wrong, see what I did there about that not extinct fish, but you still laugh at the Loch Ness Monster?
And now all of a sudden it's about the Loch Ness Monster? That's an urban legend. That's like saying you believe in Slender Man.
Let's face it, if the platypus was extra rare, you would think it was a joke. And hey, I'm with you, but don't forget that God makes weird shit. Oh right, you don't believe in God either. I believe in the giant cobra. I believe in the Bigfoot and all its cousins. Shout out Karen B, so look into the Billy Ape. I think that aliens are just older versions of us. And of course, I believe in flat frickin' Earth.
So he believes in the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, flat Earth. He doesn't believe in space. He doesn't believe in astronauts. He doesn't believe in the moon landing. And I guess the alien thing was a reference to him believing in Scientology, which, honestly, I don't even have a problem with Scientology. But, like, you can't be believing in all this crazy stuff and then be calling out other people's beliefs.
For the record, vampires and werewolves can't work because of the virus aspect, and zombies are only possible with magic. And just for fun, remember that giant cow in the beginning? Yeah, that's totally real, so put that in your lab pipe and smoke it. This is a world of mystery and wonder if you would just open your mind and take a look. Do your own research and explore what's possible. Whatever, I'm done.
Okay, but like, why does he sound angrier and angrier at the end of all of his videos? To me, it's just funny. Like, every time he says, I'm done, he just sounds more and more frustrated.
So my flat earth friends messaged me and say, Mark, can you do a fast thing on the moon? I said, yeah, I can do a fast thing, so buckle up. The short version is nothing makes sense, not a single thing. The moon is just a big coincidence and a giant plot hole.
What does he mean, plot hole? This isn't a game. This isn't a movie. It's just the moon.
It's supposedly 2,000 miles wide. Bet you didn't know that. It's 400 times smaller than the sun and 400 times closer, which means it fits perfectly in front of the sun during an eclipse. But the eclipse shadow is only 100 miles wide, which is what flat earth people expect.
Yeah, the moon's path of totality is only about 70 miles wide because of its relative distance compared to the sun. And also, that isn't even the full shadow. There's still the penumbral shadow, which is a lot less dark, but it's still part of the shadow.
The dark side of the moon means the side we can't see. Not that it's dark. Everyone messes that up. Wait, why do we even have a dark side? Because the rotation is perfectly matched. It's also way too big. Most of the craters look like they hit at a 90-degree angle, like the moon was decorated. Explain that. The moon is really bright from Earth, but for the astronauts, it's dark and ashy. Speaking of astronauts, every president since Jimmy Carter has said the U.S. is going back, but no one has even attempted to set foot on the moon since 1972. Let that sink in. The Americans never failed, but no one else even tried? Forget about Artemis. Tell me what happened to the Dear Moon Project. What a joke. Bottom line, the moon itself is a hoax, DJ, because the Earth is actually flat. Do your own research or don't. Whatever. I'm done.
That's the view of Earth from a weather balloon. And to me, it looks pretty round. Do I need to say anything else?
My flat earth friends messaged me and say, Mark, you gotta do a video on the curve and explain how it works. And I said, easy. Let's cover the basics. If you believe in the globe and you believe in the curve, and by that I mean the invisible shape that can only be seen from space.
I'm just gonna put this image here again for another 5 seconds, just because.
But how is it measured? I hate math, you hate math. Why learn it if you have cell phones? The math behind the curve, see what I did there, is simple. For your visible range, it's 8 inches per mile or 8 inches per mile squared.
Finally got something right in one of his videos. Now how is he going to tie that fact to the world being flat?
And you say, Mark, get bent. That's math. Fine, I'll do it for you. At 10 miles, the curve is 10 times 10 times 8, so 800. Easy, right? No, because right now you're thinking stairs. It's not stairs. It gets more exaggerated the further you go. At 50 miles, it's way more than you think. It's 50 times 50 times 8, which is pushing 1,700 feet, and that means on a calm day, any object shorter than that should be behind the curve. See what I did twice? The trolls say it's a mirage or Fata Morgana or looming, but check out these oil rigs from the beach in California. No curve in front of the rigs, and more importantly, no curve on the distant horizon. Wait a minute, how can there be a horizon behind the oil rigs when the curve should have blocked everything from the front? The curve is a brainwashing myth. The reason you can see behind the curve is because it's not there. It's flat. Go down the rabbit hole and find out for yourself. Or don't. Whatever. I'm done.
So I guess with his logic, if you're on the Gulf Coast of Florida and you look into the distance, you're going to see the coast of Mexico, which obviously doesn't happen. But I guess using his logic, he could also be saying maybe, like, the air will eventually make it, like, your sight just fade out because, I don't know, it blocks it or something, which also doesn't make any sense because the horizon line is a solid line. It doesn't fade out of existence, which just really proves that the world is round. Well, guys, I did do my research. I did a lot of research, just like he said to do at the end of most of his videos. And now I can confidently say that most of the stuff this guy says is just random nonsense. Either he's actually insane, or he's just saying all this stuff for clout. Anyways, that's all I really have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps out a ton. And also, like I said in the beginning of the video, join the Discord server using the link in my channel's description. You won't regret it. It's a good server. But on that note, I'm out. Peace.